Hello everyone, welcome to the Redmen TV. I'm Steve Hoare, joined by Chris Pajak and by Sam Walker for the Uncensored match build-up. West Ham versus Liverpool Sunday at a rather strange kick-off time at 5:15. We're going to be chatting about
I did not know that.
Yeah, I thought it was 5:30.
No, 5:15.
Wow.
Yeah.
I hope I haven't just messed the intro. No, yeah, 5:15, I was right. Yeah, there you go. 5:15 on a Sunday, random kick-off time. We're going to be speaking about West Ham and their up-and-down type season. We're going to have a look at Liverpool's squad, maybe some rest and rotation, injuries, suspensions, all that good stuff as well as yet. Liverpool hope to continue on this march, hopefully to a Premier League title. Before we get into all of the good stuff and all of the chat, a quick message from today's sponsor, our good friends at Salah. Roll VT, Joe. Hey guys, this video is sponsored by our good friends at Salah. Salah is a new eSIM service app brought to you by our good mates at Nord Security. With the Salah app, like the one I've got downloaded on my phone right here, you can choose from several affordable eSIM plans in over 160 countries and 8 regions. With the Salah eSIM, you'll always have a connection when you need it. With Salah and their eSIM, that can reduce or even in some cases eliminate roaming charges, so you can save money while you use your data on the move. There's nothing worse than being abroad, being somewhere and you've got no data, you've got no way to connect to the outside world. Luckily, Salah has got you covered. They'll make sure that you don't run out of data, because once you get past your 80% usage, they'll send you a nice little reminder and you can simply log into the app, top up and carry on with your roaming. All Salah eSIM plans are compatible with iOS and with Android. If for some reason your device isn't fully compatible once you've downloaded it, you can get a full refund. So if it doesn't work, it's not compatible with your phone, then yeah, simply get in touch with the guys and they'll refund your entire cost. So if you want to get involved, simply like I've just done here on my phone, download the Salah app, select your plan, install that eSIM, following the simple on-screen instructions. Make sure you have a reliable internet connection wherever you are when you're traveling, and also save money on those roaming fees. Simply download the Salah app, use the promo code RedmenTV when you check out, get that 15% discount, and yeah, happy travels. Thanks very much to the guys at Salah, our mates at NordVPN with their new app. Get yourselves involved, download the app, use that promo code RedmenTV, get yourselves 15% off. There's a link in the description as well, go and click on that. If you're someone who travels or someone who goes abroad often and wants to save some money on data and calls, that is the place for you to go. Right then, let's make a start with it. Chris, I'll come to you. West Ham is an interesting one really in terms of their season. At times, they've looked really poor. At times, they've done okay. They wanted to move away from David Moyes to Lopetegui. They wanted to change, maybe a bit more front-footed, all that kind of stuff. Hasn't really worked for them, per se. They're 18 games played. They're 13th position at this moment in time on 23 points.
What position?
13th. One ahead of Man United.
Yeah,
1 point. Wow. 1 point above Man United. It's been a very strange West Ham season, really. Not much has changed. I don't know. I'm not sure they've had any benefit yet of the Lopetegui thing. There was talk when they played Wolves the other day that whoever lost that game was getting sacked. It feels like El Sacico. Yeah, it feels like they've been teetering on that. They're not quite sure.
The last couple of results since that Wolves game, I mean, did they draw against Bournemouth and did they draw against Brighton as well?
2 decent results, yeah.
Yeah, I should say decent results there. So
and then sneaked past Southampton
yesterday. They won yesterday, didn't they? So I mean, they've got to be looking at it going, wow, 8 points from the last 4 games, not bad for them, is it? I don't know. I've not watched the games. I don't know whether the fans feel like they've turned the corner or anything. The noise, on the radio shows and and fans and stuff would suggest otherwise. But you've still got players that can hurt you, haven't they? And that's ultimately what it comes down to. Obviously, we know Kudus and Bowen and all that type of stuff. So they've got some good players, haven't they? They just don't feel to me like a team yet. I don't know whether they will do. Hopefully they do, because I kind of like West Ham, to be honest with you. But hopefully after this weekend.
Yeah, just to interlude there, I find they're a bit like Tottenham in a lot of ways. Is that not in terms of where they are. I think Tottenham should be higher than where they are, but I'm not sure where West Ham should be in the Premier League, all things being equal. They've had some good seasons of late, and instead of just taking that as, wow, that's, a real achievement, us finishing 6th, 7th, 8th, or whatever, winning a competition in Europe, playing the Europa League, getting quite far twice. Instead of taking that was a bit of a golden period for us, they take it as, no, that's the benchmark. Well, actually, when you've got a league where you've got Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, City, Man United, Newcastle with the money they've got, Tottenham, Aston Villa, Spurs in, and then you've got the Brighton sort of
Forest, apparently.
Yep. Well, Forest are having a season. Forest and Bournemouth are having a season that West Ham have had. So they won't survive it. But Brighton have got this sort of mad way of doing things which really works them. They've fell upon it, haven't they? A bit like Southampton did for a few years. But you've got a good 8 teams in the Premier League that should automatically just finish in the top 8. And I think they probably will do. You've got clubs like Everton who are way down there. And actually, West Ham and Everton should be about the same sort of level. So I'm not sure West Ham should be any higher than 9th anyway. So when you're sitting 13th and 9th within your striking distance, probably, I don't think they can be too upset. Leave it till March and then have a look where you are and think maybe you've had a bad season. But the problem is you get skewed by their expectations of, because they have won a Conference League. And instead of taking it like Leicester did, of, we're never going to do that again, they've kind of sort of took that as that's a starting point, but it's not really the reality.
Yeah, because West Ham they finished 9th in last season. The year before they finished 14th, but again, by that point they were really focusing on the European adventures. They've done well in Europe as well. 7th, they've always been around that top half. I think they
did all right. Was it in the Europa League last season they did half decent?
Yeah,
last 8.
They've done well, mate.
They knocked out same as us. 2 years before that, they finished. They got to the semi-final.
Yeah, they've been good in Europe, or they were good in Europe under Moyes this year. I suppose that was the one with no European football really to speak of. Chris, they were expecting more when they make the change to Lopetegui. If you go and get someone who's managed Spain, Real Madrid, you're expecting big things. Hasn't quite worked out, and the main reason I'd say for it is they concede too many goals. Like the 18 games, they've conceded 30 goals. Wow. Only the bottom 4 and Brentford, who were one place above them, have conceded more. That is unlike them. They've had this issue with the goalkeepers. They've swapped and changed. They've had the centre backs in and out. They've
lost the striker to injury.
Yeah, we'll speak about the injuries and stuff in a moment, but if 23 goals scored isn't massive, but it's about par for that. But they let too many goals in, which again should hopefully bode well for Liverpool.
Well, yeah, I mean, listen, a lot's made of clubs, certainly like Liverpool or Manchester United or Arsenal, who change a manager after a few years. I don't think West Ham have been afforded the same conversation, to be honest with you. Moyes was there for a long time, over 2 spells, I think it was, actually, wasn't it? So their way of playing under Moyes was totally ingrained into every one of those first teamers in the football club from top to bottom, because he'd been there for that long. So it should be a period of adaptation. Liverpool's trying to fly in the face of that. We're the only team that has done that. Everybody else has kind of struggled. So it doesn't surprise me that West Ham aren't firing on all cylinders. They weren't going to hit the ground running. The players weren't good enough for that. They had a very solid foundation that Moyes gave them that allowed their core players and their good players to win them games through technical skill and all that type of stuff. Whereas it feels like they're changing from that to they want to be more play more the West Ham way, whatever the fuck that is. Maybe something from 60 years ago, more than anything else. Yeah, well, that's 60 years ago, isn't it? Like, you know what I mean? And yet they're not being given the time to do that. Now, equally, I will say, I'm not particularly enthused with Lopetegui as a manager. So you can hold on to the wrong man for too long as well, but yeah, hopefully we just slot him at the end of the day.
It would be nice. Talking about the players who they're missing, and so as it stands, obviously we know Mikel Antonio's out and wish him the best. Obviously, a horrendous incident. Max Kilman's out. He's done a shoulder. That's a big blow, really. They're struggling for centre halves. Obviously, they lose Kurt Zouma. Obviously, they sold him, and they've been kind of struggling. That centre back Kilman was meant to be the one.
He's the main man. Yeah,
and it looks like he's probably going to miss this when he's got a bad shoulder. Fabianski, for what it's worth, got stretched off yesterday with a head injury. Yeah. He had a clash, and he got taken off. They had to bring.
If that's concussion,
Areola,
he's their number one, actually, isn't he?
Well, it goes back to the point. Fabianski has got himself back in the team. They've been doing the swap and change. He hasn't quite figured stuff out yet.
He owes us a goal from last year, Areola, as well, doesn't he?
he scored one against. He scored.
Oh, do you remember that goal where Gakpo, where he puts it down? It was weird. We would have won that game, but we got
scored an own
shafted by
goal
the
in the
ref.
game, and he does the thing where he tries to take a quick free kick, and Gakpo scores.
And he absolutely, the ref messed that up.
Yeah, fingers crossed. So that could be something to look at. So they have got issues. And if you think about it, Chris, it's very basic to say, but if you're without, we think now Fabianski was the number one again, maybe. They're without him, they're without the centre half, and then without the centre forward. That's tough for any team, especially when you're playing against Liverpool.
Well, yeah, that's it. I mean, you need your spine of your side, don't you, to compete at the highest level week in, week out, and looks like West Ham are going to be without that. I mean, listen, I think the same could be said of Liverpool over the last few weeks and stuff. Obviously, I know we've only got Konate and Bradley out, but you know, is anyone really talking about the Konate injury as much? Joe Gomez has been brilliant, but we've been chipping goals.
Yeah, we have.
Like before Konate was injured, we were excellent, you know, and he was just so good. And this isn't to say that Gomez has been bad. I think Gomez has been excellent, but even when the backup players come in and they're excellent, it's still not as good as the first teamers, are they? And I think Liverpool have seen that, and West Ham are seeing that as well.
Yeah, like I say, losing to, I think it was Kilman and Fabianski both went down yesterday, so we'll see how they
also, I think something plays into it for us is, you know, we're this season, certainly, we're more used to playing, you know, twice a week.
Yeah.
You know, Thursday, Sunday, historically, West Ham have been slightly more used to that. But obviously, we played Thursday, Sunday last season, so our players know what that's about and stuff like that. We've got a bigger squad, less injuries at the moment. We should adapt to the short time period between games better than West Ham.
Yeah. We've also played them this year, haven't we? And against their strong side. I know it was at Anfield, but we played them and they had one or two players that were in the team, but generally, the likes of Bowen and that were playing. So I think, you know, we've had a look at them anyway, and what they're about.
I say that win at Southampton, which again, 1-0 at Southampton, no one's waiting, and they lose two key players during it. It turned out to be a bit of an
interesting point, that though, because we've not had that yet this season, have we? I mean, we've talked about second half slot on the final word.
Brighton's the only one we've played twice.
Yeah, and we beat them in both games, didn't we?
Yeah, and Southampton, yeah.
So we talk about second half slot when he's actually played against the side and he's already done his research on that side, against that side. I wonder how much better we'll be in the second half of the season when we start to play more teams twice than we were in the first halves against them and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll be fascinating to see what they have got. Chris, and you'd kind of touched on it before again, is no matter where they are and whatever Southampton got, West Ham have got players who can score a goal. And that's the first thing I always look at when you play a team. Who's their goal threat? Have they got one? Now, the strikers are struggling. Obviously, Antonio was out, and wish him the best. Fulkrug hasn't really panned out yet. He just looks like a bit of a big lump up front, and they're still waiting to try and figure out exactly where they're at with him. But they have got Bowen, they have got Kudos. Paqueta got himself a yellow card to have his Boxing Day off, but now he's back. He can play again. Yeah. So he had himself a 3-1 apparently. But they're the players who can create and score goals.
I think he meant allegedly, not apparently.
That was quality.
Allegedly.
That was brilliant.
Sorry. But Bowen in particular, he has hurt Liverpool before. But in the likes of Kudus and Paqueta, they're the lads who, like I say, Liverpool, we spoke on the review show, the back door isn't closed at the moment. Like the last team to keep a clean sheet in the league, who we kept a clean sheet against was City. They obviously kept one against Girona in the Champions League, but the Liverpool are conceding goals and West Ham have goal threats.
Yeah, and that's it, isn't it? You know, again, we need to come out there and know exactly what the game plan is. Keep the back door shut, apply the pressure to them, and keep their playmakers quiet. They'll be trying to do exactly the same, of course, with our playmakers. We've got more of them, you know, and with the addition of the midfielders scoring goals this season as well, you'd hope that, you know, even if they do shut down Salah, will Gakpo or a Diaz crop up, or will someone running from deep in midfield pop up and get the goals?
Yeah, absolutely.
We need to stop going 1-0 down against them. We've done that the last two seasons away, and this season we need to stop going 1-0 down. You know, if there's been a few games recently where it's crept back in, so that's the key thing for. If you go 1-0 up against West Ham, it changes everything they do.
My guess would be, looking at their team, Sam, is that they'll probably put Bowen up front. Like
I hope so.
They didn't yesterday, but I think they're not going. I'd be shocked if they do put the big fella up front. You know, if you say to Fulkrug, you're up against like Virgil, I think Virgil and Gomez will be all right with that. I think they'd rather, you know, West Ham are probably going to sit back and counter. That's what they've always done against us. They've had limited success, but sometimes it's worked. You're probably looking at Jarrod Bowen playing centre forward, you would guess. Would you agree?
Well, I actually thought, because he hasn't really worked for them this season, I thought with Fulkrug being there and him playing the other day and them getting the assist for Bowen's goal, they might be thinking a bit more physicality, things like corners, set pieces that they've always been traditionally good at, with Souček being in the side as well. I think it's something that they might think, it's a realistic way of getting a goal. But as you say, if they're going to be under pressure, he's no good when you counter-attack. And even if you're looking to sort of get the ball wide to Bowen in the box, he's not going to be more dynamic than Van Dijk is, he maybe even Gomez. So, yeah, I don't know. I hope they play Bowen up front, because I do think that he's less effective there. I think he's an unbelievable right winger. I think when he plays up front, you're taking a lot of... It's like playing Salah up front for us. It's not quite the same.
Yeah.
So, but... Obviously, they've got Kudus who could play there, and Paqueta can drift away. I'm not sure. I think if I was the manager of West Ham, I would have the big fella up front and try and get Bowen on the ball wide, because I think that's where he's most effective, cutting in, shooting. But, he's had a tricky season. I'm not sure what he goes back to.
The other thing is, every team pretty much has targeted our right-back area of the field, haven't they? Certainly over the last few weeks and stuff, is that you'd imagine that West Ham would be doing that. Kudus probably playing off that left-hand side. How do they bring him into the game, and what works best for that?
Paqueta in the 10.
It's also worth mentioning, I think you're right, Chris, we've also had a little bit of issue at left-back, wingers having a go at Andy Robbo. So, we might say, listen, Bowen v Robertson, they might fancy their chances. He is the threat. I think it's probably too late now for Jared Bowen to get another move. He's had an unbelievable career from non-league right the way up. West Ham, scores a goal in the European final. Yeah. He plays for England, played in tournaments for England. He's fantastic. He's had a really good go. It wasn't that long ago when he was being looked at as a serious option. He's probably past the age now. Yeah. But he is the one. It's a bit... I used to always feel this way about Wilfred Zaha playing against Palace. Sometimes he does, sometimes he doesn't. But he's got history of doing it against Liverpool. He is the one I'm most worried about. Are you in the same boat?
I think so, yeah. I think so. I've always really liked him as a player, certainly the last 3 or 4 years. I just think he's excellent on the ball. He's really sort of direct in his running and stuff like that. He is a problem, and he knows where the back of the goal is, doesn't he? There was a period a couple of years ago where he's scoring in every game, wasn't he? Did he get their record or something? It was definitely close to it and stuff. So he's a threat. The left back from Liverpool's perspective will be interesting, because obviously we saw Tsimikas come on last night. Robertson, advancing in his years, is he going to play again after playing so many games back to back to back? That will be an interesting one for me for what Slot does.
Absolutely. Yeah. We'll talk about that in a moment. Then, what we're going to do, we're going to go to a quick break. Before we do that, got a trivia question to take you into said break, and it's about Mohamed Salah. So Mo Salah has played 16 games against West Ham. How many goals has he scored against them? I'll give you a clue. He's one of the teams he scores a lot of goals against. He's up there with the others. Oh, so yeah, we'll get the answer to that and have a little look at Liverpool's team news, injuries, suspensions, and all that after this quick break. I'll see you in a couple of minutes.
11.
Hey, I am absolutely delighted to say that The Man Who Stole the World Cup, the book written by my dad, published by myself this year, is available now to buy. You can get the limited edition signed version exclusively on redmenmerch.com. When they are sold out forever. There is a simple way of getting it as well. You can get it on Amazon in a hardback print order version, or the Kindle edition is available on there as well. The Man Who Stole the World Cup is a fun, adventure-packed time travel story about kids from Liverpool pulled from Liverpool's double winning season in 85-86 into the plot to steal the Jules Rimet World Cup trophy in 1966 that would ruin football for all time, and 3 adventurers set about making sure that they can save football in their time and in all future times as well. Something to be enjoyed by children, by young adults, and actually anyone who's got a little bit of love for football and geeky culture in their lives. Yes, get it. It's a perfect stocking filler for someone you love in your life this Christmas. The Man Who Stole the World Cup. You'll love it.
Yeah. Welcome back then to the Redmen TV. Before the break, I asked you all how many goals has Mo Salah scored against West Ham. He's played against them 16 times. Any guesses from the room?
12.
Well, I said 11 originally, but I'm going to up it to 13.
You should have went one higher. Sam's right. It is 12 goals he has scored. Shout out to Clint. Liverpool is Red podcast. Derek might have googled it. I don't know. I'm going to trust you all. They are his joint second in terms of teams he scored the most against. He has scored the most against Manchester United 15 times.
And how many games?
I can definitely find that out. He has played against Manchester United 16 times and scored 15 goals against them, which, he's
he could add to that next week.
I mean, fingers crossed. West Ham, he scored 12, the same as he scored against Man City and Tottenham.
Wow.
So he likes playing a little bit against West Ham as well. So, Mo Salah, hopefully he can add to that.
He's in the form of his life as well.
Exactly.
Come on, Mo.
He'll be fancying his chances of adding to that one. He will be in the team. We don't have to talk too much about that one. But let's talk about Liverpool's other options then, Chris. This is... He could have done what he really wanted against Leicester, the manager. Obviously, the game against Tottenham, we have 4 days rest. That's as big as you're going to get. We're back to this kind of what we went through last year, Thursday, Sunday, the Thursday-Sunday rotation. The start, I think, left-back is a conversation to have here. We spoke about Jarrod Bowen and what Liverpool might do over that side. Obviously, Andy Robbo's played a lot, and then he got himself sent off and suspended. Got earned a little, for lack of a better phrase, a little break. Does Tsimikas come in for this one? Haven't played a fair amount of minutes recently, or does he go again with Andy Robertson?
I definitely think it will be in Slot's thinking. I think it's one of the positions he'll be looking at and making a decision on. Now, it's probably whether Tsimikas is ready for...
Yeah, that's the only question.
70, 80, 90
But he
minutes.
played 45 against Southampton. I think that's quite a big statement.
They must be close.
Because Jota only played 20-10 in that game, or whatever, 20-30, maybe max 30, but he played 45.
Yeah. That probably suggests that he's close.
And then yesterday comes
already,
on, yeah. I would. If he's fit, I'd play him. I just think that you need... Robbo's not the Robbo he once was.
I don't think it's much of a drop-off anymore, is there?
No, it's not. That Tsimikas' delivery is brilliant, and I think that could help us because whoever's in... there's been a lot of first-man hit balls by Robertson this season, a lot, and we know Tsimikas has got a better delivery.
Yeah. After this game, they do get a week off as well. Obviously, Man United is next Sunday, so it's whether you go, you ask them to go one more time, or you freshen.
I don't think it's worth risking asking people to go one more time.
Yeah,
because ultimately it's what's happened before, not what's coming up at this point. Because there's been so many games for Robertson. Yeah. I think if he's fit, and I think Sam makes a great point there about the 45, then he starts Tsimikas,
and then the rest stays the same. The back four and goalkeeper doesn't change.
Well, Konate was on that picture.
Training.
I'm not saying he was trained, but Bradley wasn't. You know that one where they threw the hats up? Konate was there. Bradley wasn't. So obviously a hamstring is slightly different from knee. So I don't think it's that, but it'd be interesting to see how far away he is, because why would he be on the pitch with the lads taking photos if he's not anywhere near it? Yeah, even if he's out running.
Yeah,
I suppose as well it's interesting because there's no press conference, by the way, really. There will be something at 1:30 that they filmed yesterday. Like,
is that what they've done again?
They've done the same thing that they did last week. Obviously, fair enough. Festive period, there isn't actually a normal press conference for this one, so we haven't really got any update on that situation. So we're a little bit in the dark, but it feels like he's going to ask Gomez, Van Dijk and Trent to go again.
He kind of has to, doesn't he? Obviously, I mean, what are your options for right back? You've got Joe Gomez or you've got Trent Alexander-Arnold, really, haven't you?
It's Quansah.
Yeah.
I think it's all right.
I mean, listen, you don't know what's happening with Trent over the next few days.
It wasn't the most taxing game for Liverpool's centre-backs yesterday.
Joe Gomez played centre-mid most of the game. First half especially, he was right up in there. Didn't do that much running back, did he? And Virg certainly didn't.
I think we all agree. The midfield's interesting. Obviously, Szoboszlai was rested, maybe with a view on West Ham. Is now suspended after coming on and getting a yellow card, Chris. So he's out. We know that. So the options.
You got Jones,
Gravenberch. So Gravenberch plays. McAllister will play. You think?
Yeah.
It's whether is it time to start Harvey or is it a Curtis Jones game? Because I think there's definitely a shout to give it. I think this is a game that could suit Harvey Elliott. But the manager has been, and listen, I say reluctant. He had an injury, so I understand that. But even before the injury, Elliott wasn't really getting too much of a look in.
Yeah, I mean, to settle on the midfield for me, I'm going to have to talk about the forwards first, because I think there might be two changes in the forward line.
Okay, Diaz will play, won't he? All being well with his dad and
and I actually think Jota's going to come in for this one.
Same.
Rather than. So Gakpo and Nunes both out.
Same.
Okay.
Yeah.
And because of those two changes, I think it's probably a safer bet to go
again
Jones, McAllister, Gravenberch in the centre of the pitch.
Okay.
There'll be more space in this game for the midfielders as well. West Ham will have moments where they're up the pitch. They do. They're just more attacking. Big pitch, yeah.
I think Szoboszlai is a big miss for this one. I think he was nailed on to start here.
Yeah.
This is the type of away game, big pitch, similar to Tottenham. Actually, it's one of those games where he can really put himself about. It's just a shame, like I say. harsh yellow cards. I don't think he deserves to be booked for that one, but
Yeah.
that's the risk you run sometimes. But
I think with having Harvey, you can do the 60-30 or the 70-20, whatever way round you want to do with
Curtis.
Curtis. You can get him to half time, which I think he'd be fine. And then it's obviously when you have that rest and then come back out again, that's where. But I think, Curtis is a brilliant play. He's better than, a lot of midfielders in this league.
Yeah.
He didn't, it was a bit untidy the other day, but he still scored a goal and was still one of our better players second half as well. So I think it's fine. I
don't know if you read too much into this either, Sam, but like he was the best player I thought in the cup game.
Curtis was brilliant.
He was excellent against them in the League Cup game. He sets up the assist. The assist for Jota is fantastic. So maybe that is something.
They're not very good, West Ham, right? When the ball goes, a bit like Man United, when the ball goes past the front five players and they turn them around running towards their own goal, they're poor, they're stiff, they're a big physical side. When they're going forward, they're a force. When they turn around, they've got to run towards their own goal. They're not very good, and I think Curtis is one of those players, a bit like Szoboszlai, that if he picks up the ball in between the centre halves and midfielders, they're in big problems, and the form our forwards are in. The only thing I think that could be an issue, Chris, is that Cody Gakpo scored again the other day and played. He was our best player, so I'm not sure whether Slot just goes, why would I drop you? Yeah. Which means he could play Diaz in the 9 again.
That's what I was thinking he was going to do.
I just think because it's like Salah, Gakpo and Salah are pairing at the moment. I'm a big Núñez fan. Not this season he's been off the boil, but I would be having him out the side, and I don't think Jota's been that great apart from his goal.
I'm not sure he's
only played it's less than 60 minutes over the last few games.
Well, I was going to say that. I was surprised when you said you think he's going to start, because I've seen no evidence that he's fit enough to play now.
He's not.
Just that he's been involved. Obviously, it was the 14th of December he came back after his 2-month layoff, wasn't it? Gets them 10-11 minutes, gets a goal against Spurs, gets 23 the next week.
After the first.
Gets 20 minutes the following few days later. Obviously gets a few minutes last night. So for me, I mean, it's definitely Núñez who's coming off.
Yeah.
Gakpo I'd be looking to protect. My thinking around the Jota is actually that week off. Like, how long are we waiting to get him back into the side?
Yeah.
If you don't get him a start here, it's another week.
Yeah.
That he's still not building up his match fitness. The games are coming thick and fast. You've obviously got the cup games where you could look at. The first leg against Tottenham might be one of those where you might earmark that and go, that's Jota's first start. Yeah. I don't know, but for me, I think regardless, there's 2 changes.
Okay. I think Diaz might play up front again.
Possibly, yeah.
I like
he
him
did
there.
play the
I
90 Gakpo, didn't he?
Yeah,
he did. Yeah,
Diaz didn't get on.
And Diaz didn't get on, so he's guaranteed.
Diaz going to start, but it might be that Diaz starts on the left and goes up front. He doesn't have to. Yeah. He doesn't have to stay on the left. Gakpo can come on 60 minutes. You can put Diaz up front. You could go. Slot's done. Jota scored 3 goals this season in the number 10 position. If we need to score, he might put Núñez up front or Diaz up front and Jota in that number 10 where he can just arrive late and pick up the ball in the spaces, which he's good at. There's lots of options here, and you've also got Chiesa as well, who looked sharp against Southampton once he got into the game. He might be an option at some point.
Yeah, he was ill, wasn't he?
He's not going to start.
No, he was back on the bench yesterday. I always think 3 changes feels what Slot does. I'm trying to think what they'll be. What I think the left back is 1. He can't do nothing in midfield. I don't think he's ready to start earlier. So then probably 2 do come up front would be my guess, like you. And you ask them to go again, and then you have a week off. I suppose the interesting one here, Sam, is sometimes when it's Thursday, Sundays, that the team you play on the Sunday has had a week off or had time off. Yeah, that isn't. West Ham played the exact same game.
Yeah, exactly.
A little bit earlier, of course, but it was away down at Southampton.
And it was harder. Their game was harder than ours. They've lost a couple of players. They've had 95, 6, 7 minutes against winning 1-0. It's hard. You go into the end of that game, let's be honest. We weren't going from the end of our game for 47 minutes when Curtis scored, whatever it was. Yeah, I'm with you. I think that, this is about, I said this in the Spurs game, this is about us making sure we manage the first half an hour of the game. West Ham will have times in the game where they're on top, they'll have set pieces that are threatening for us. But for us, this should be a game that we go and just do a job. And you know what? West Ham beating Southampton's the best thing that could have happened to us. It's not all this confidence. It's just the manager's not under major pressure at the moment. He's done all right. He's doing what he probably should be doing now. So losing to Liverpool at home, it's a team that looks like the best team about. It's not a bad thing. Absolutely. So I think it's coming a good time for us.
Yeah, fingers crossed, that's right. Let's have a little look around the league then, what else is happening. It's interesting because we're talking about this game. There's actually still 2 games from this current game week, which is, just because the way it's worked out. So Brighton v Brentford and Arsenal v Ipswich both tonight. We'll see how they both go. Hopefully Ipswich do something, but I'm not expecting it. But then you go to match week 19, of course, Leicester Man City. I mean, Can the underdogs pull off a massive upset and beat Leicester and finally win a game?
1 win in 13, by the way. Wow.
It's not great for them.
When was the last? I would love to know this. Someone in the chat put this in. Who was the last team to only have 1 win in 13? Because I think that's like because teams like Burnley and
Everton.
No, but even still, Southampton, Everton, Burnley last year, these type of teams.
Southampton have only won 1 this year, haven't they?
Yeah, but have they won a League Cup game?
Oh, right.
Do you know what I mean? So they've won one match because most of these teams that will be on that kind of run will have had the odd League Cup, FA Cup game in there where they might have won it anyway. But they've literally won 1 match in 13 matches in all comps. That's unheard of.
Yeah, they're having a stinky time. And hopefully, if Leicester want to do something against them. I mean, Leicester give up the final 10 minutes of last night's game to save the legs for that one.
Absolutely.
But isn't it nice to just have City follow us with the games? Because in previous years, we've always had the team that they've beaten.
Yeah.
And then a week later, we're playing them and they feel like they have to go at us more because they've just lost the previous games. Whereas City are getting our cast off, so hopefully they can do something. It's been like that all season, really, with City, hasn't it?
I mean, they're none of our business at the moment, which is great to talk about. If Leicester can do something.
How many points behind are they?
At this moment in time, so
With a game in hand.
Man City are in 7th position on 28, so 14 behind, and Liverpool obviously have that down.
Are City closer to the relegation zone than us?
So they are 14 points behind Liverpool. They exactly the same. Are 14 points ahead of Leicester City. Yeah,
hey boys, stay humble.
Yeah. Salah said that, you know. When Salah said that in his interview yesterday, and he was
I thought about it. I thought about it.
I wonder if he was.
Oh, there's definitely a bit of that.
A little bit of needle. Everton could do Liverpool another favour, playing Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest are currently 3rd. So Everton have been doing Liverpool favours all week recently with loads of draws. Maybe they can do another one.
They've had a great December, Everton. But an absolutely top tier December from what they thought they were going to get. Have you got their results up? I mean, they probably had themselves down as 2 points in December, and you know they've probably got 5. It's a wonderful December for Everton.
Yeah, we'll say they had loads of draws. So they got battered by Man United, which wasn't a good start. But then they battered Wolves, drew with Arsenal, drew with Chelsea, drew with City. So you're right, 5.
Do you know what, Steve? That break was as good for them as it was us. It was for us, we're looking, but they would have had to play bang bang bang, and they're not used to that. And they would have got up for it, and it would have been a nightmare. But even if they had pulled something out against us, they would have exerted that much energy as they always do. The next games would have been tough. Arsenal, Chelsea, City. Whereas having that game off and then sort of, you know, being able to go to Arsenal with a full game plan, then just basically repeat it 3 times. That's going to be a horrible game, that.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Horrible game. Everton Forest. No one will want to attack. They'll both be trying to counter-attack each other. Ball will just remain on the penalty spot. The halfway line.
Bang, bang,
no
bang.
one's even gone for it. Teams refusing to kick off.
It's like 2 boxers just looking at each other. Go on, you go first.
not uncommon at all. In terms of other title challenges, including our big rivals Nottingham Forest, Chelsea go to Ipswich on Monday night. Again, we record this not knowing what Ipswich have done against West Ham.
Arsenal.
Sorry, against Arsenal. Ipswich are having a bit of a tough run at the moment, but Chelsea having a little dip. I don't think going to Ipswich on a Monday night feels fantastic, but we'll wait and see.
I'd listen, in that scenario, I'd much rather be Arsenal having Ipswich at home than Ipswich away.
Yeah,
they haven't had that. They will have that game. There's going to be, I know you could say maybe Villa where they drew, didn't they? But every single one of those teams who comes up with a Portman Road or you know, was it Liverpool when we went to what was Luton's ground called?
Yeah,
Kenilworth, whatever, Kenilworth, yeah. They all have that one game. Norwich had it where they beat City 3-2 that time. They all have a game where you go there and it's like, oh, for God's sake.
It's
one of those teams. We've beat them already, and we swear we've done. United, they drew with United, but they'll beat somebody at home and go, oof. You know, that stinks of that.
Hopefully it's Chelsea. And then Arsenal have got a tough one, I think. Brentford on New Year's Day away, Chris.
Yeah.
Feels like one where, again, we'll find out.
Brentford's home form's still excellent, isn't it, I think?
It's just
dropped.
Is it just dropped?
It has a bit, but it's better than... It's the reason, because they're the worst away team, one of the worst away teams of all time. But it's the home form that's got them near the top of the table. And yeah, Arsenal, with no Saka, we'll see how they get on tonight. But that, when you're looking at games where rivals might drop points, Brentford away is always one that you can't half earmark, because they've taken big points off teams at their place, including us.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously, again, we don't know what's happened tonight, but it does feel like a little bit of a turning point for Arsenal in the way that they've got Gabriel Jesus into the side now, and you know, he seems to be up and running, and that's just one of those where I think we had it a couple of years ago where Jürgen had no centre halves and he just started playing Williams and that, and it's all of a sudden, it's like, why the fuck didn't I do that before? Like, it might not last with Jesus, but
he'll play him wide right though, you know.
You reckon?
I think he'll play wide right, yeah. I think Trossard's not going to go and play right wing. I think he's played wide right before when Saka's either...
He's played against us a lot.
You know, he was good at. He's really good in the air doing that. You know, he used to always get behind Andy Robbo and win that bit. He's really good in the air, Jesus.
But, you know, he scored, 5 goals against Palace. There's been some... not fortunate, but there's been some sort of opportunistic goals there scored where it spilled, like the first goal against Palace, second goal was fantastic. There was an offside goal against, you know, it falls for you. I'm not ready to go, oh, he's back. He scored 5 goals in about 60 minutes against Palace. Let's see if another defence that...
But it just might be enough to cover the Saka loss.
Possibly.
Thomas Frank will be in his book of set pieces as well.
Tonight it will. I'm not sure about the other games though. Saka's brilliant.
Yeah. We'll see how they get on.
Very good.
We'll see how Arsenal get on in both of them. Over to them. We had some tough games. Right, back to us then, Chris. West Ham versus Liverpool. How are you feeling? What score predictions? Liverpool going to win again?
Liverpool are going to win again. And I'm going to go outlandish and say we don't concede the first goal, or in fact any goal in the game.
Okay.
And I feel like it's a comfortable and confident 3-0 victory.
Yeah, I was actually going to say 3-0, so I'm not going to change it for the sake of it.
I think 3-1. I think we will.
Boo!
I think we're taking it
Fucking
personally.
Boo!
I'll be happy with it, mate.
Yeah. I think Virg takes it personally when we concede stupid goals like that.
Well, he needs to take it personally because we've conceded about 15 of them recently. So
yeah, but Spurs is an outlier. But that the other day, that stupid goal, Fulham as well. Like with it being the 10 men, you've got to kind of just park that. But that should have been a game yesterday where we won 2-0. And we didn't, and he'll be annoyed at that.
Yeah, and now we're not the best defence in the league again.
No, Arsenal, they've played the same games now as well. They've got 1 less.
So fingers crossed Liverpool can get back to winning ways. We all think they will. People in the chat are getting there's a 4-1 from Charlie. Callum's going for 2-0. Salah and Gakpo at the men informer. So fingers crossed that is what happens. I think
we're joint top on clean sheets. I think we've got 7 clean sheets as well. So I think we'd like to take the lead there.
3-3 against Newcastle skewed our goals against, hasn't it?
Yeah, we've conceded 17. For Arsenal conceded 16. Obviously, they play against tonight.
I think the XG is slightly better for Arsenal as well. I think it's 16 and ours is 16.5.
Two very, very good defences. Both teetering a little bit, but yeah, hopefully Liverpool can get back to winning ways. And listen, if they can see 1 book score for 8, I think we'll all be relatively happy. For the game on Sunday, come and join us for the watch along. Like I say, a slightly different kick-off time. It's 5:15.
Really good job you said that. You know, I might have turned up late on Sunday.
Yeah. I'm glad.
Or early. I think I probably thought it was half 4.
Did you? No, I thought it was 5:30.
I just didn't check. I just knew we were playing Sunday.
It's effectively the Saturday fixtures, isn't it, with the 3 o'clocks and the 12:30 and stuff like that.
They moved everything along a day, so there's no games on Saturday this week. It's all Sunday. They've moved everything along.
Is there still the 3 o'clock blackout then?
Yeah. Oh no, it wasn't yesterday though, was it?
No.
Well, it was Amazon had the day, so maybe we'll find out. Who United are playing? United are playing Newcastle at home. On Monday, they're getting slapped around there. They're getting absolutely wellied round Old Trafford with the roof raining on the manager. But going back to about 5:15 kick-off, the watch-along, we go live an hour and 20 minutes before kick-off, which makes it a very, very strange time.
Wait, it's 5 to something. 4. There you go.
3:55 or a strange time with Chris, Dan and Paul.
The likelihood is it's probably going to be 4 o'clock.
Paul will be making a cup of tea when the producers are desperate trying to get him in the studio. So do come and join.
What normally happens.
Yeah, do come and join us for that one, as hopefully Liverpool can get themselves even further ahead in this what is looking like a very promising season so far. Thanks to Chris, thanks to Sam, thanks all you guys for watching or for listening. Catch you all next time.